marked down. So obviously this probably happens a lot, right? Do you understand what those two things mean? What does it mean if we mark something up?
You're upping the prices on it.
Okay, so why would we do this?
To make a profit.
To make a profit.
Because inflation.
Or inflation. We might have to make up,
Materials might go up.
okay, materials. Now,
Labor.
with the war, we might have gas prices.
Is it war now?
Everything's gone up.
Lamers, are you serious?
You got a -0 on this quiz and you don't know that gas prices are almost $4.
I know.
Over $4.
Because of the war, Lamers.
Oh yeah.
You can't drive.
Gas prices don't matter though, Andrew, right now.
That
Shoes
sucks.
gone up like $10.
At least I can drive.
Right. So this is why we would want to mark up, right?
Don't crash.
So there's a couple different versions of this. You can do this by marking up based on the selling price, as you can see on this page, or if you turn the next page, you can mark it up based on the cost. So this is kind of a weird concept sometimes to kind of grasp. What's the difference between the selling price and then the cost? Well, the cost is, again, us buying it from that supplier, from that big company. And then the selling price is what we're going to set to shoot it out to our customers. So does that make sense to everybody?
So you mark it up the second time?
So you're gonna mark it up from what you got it for to sell it. So when they talk about cost, they're talking about our cost that we had to purchase it from the superstore or whatever. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that you gotta get into your melon. Okay, so basically they're gonna start looking at and trying to figure out how you are going to do this, and you can set kind of your goal, what you want it to, or you can just flat put it at whatever you want based on a percentage. So going through your profits or going through whatever you decided, you would figure out, okay, what is my goal or what is my business need right now to make a profit or at least stay even. Maybe you only want to stay even through these times right now. Maybe you think, well, if I push it too much, then people might not even come back, right? Especially right now. So it's kind of a real, touchy subject, going back and forth a little bit there. Okay, so notice here in example 1, this is the best way for me to explain this because you can basically do this in 2 different versions. You're doing the exact same thing, it's just what makes more sense to your melon. All right? So let's go through example 1 and then we'll get to the actual examples. But example 1 kind of shows this, how to figure this out now based on the selling price. So first read the little thing. Ida owns a luggage place and has to buy carry-on luggage for a line she sells for $90. Let's stop right there, sorry. What does it mean by a line?
Like
A set?
the set of maybe this purple set is the line of purple.
No,
I tried.
close. Well,
It's the group.
when you talk about a line, a price line,
A
this would
price
be,
line.
yeah, what's a price line?
Oh, how much it's gone for before, like history.
No, not necessarily. Price line. What's the price line of a microwave? So the price line of a microwave would be the 2 or 3, 4 different versions of a microwave that you have in your store that you're going to sell. So what does that mean? If you went, what's a version of a microwave that's good? I have no idea.
I don't know, the one that we just had to get recently.
Supra.
because I got the other one, that's pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Then let's go to TVs. Okay. So your lines are Vizio, Samsung, Panasonic, and what's cheaper?
Roku.
TCL.
TCL. Okay, so you got, those are different lines. So you're basically selling a 60-inch TV, flat screen, but then they're going to be at different prices, right? The upgrade or what you would consider.
Oh, like iPhones.
Yeah, okay. The better version of it would be
More expensive.
to be more expensive. Okay, so is it worth $1,000 or $250 to get what you think is the best version compared to your TLC version? Your microwaves would have the same thing, right? Your blenders, whatever. There would be what I would call, like the Walmart version versus the name brand, Black & Decker or something. So, is that a big deal to you? Is it really better? I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, he just said they had to replace their microwave. I think I've had my microwave, knock on wood, since I graduated college.
I kind of
Good quality.
Right, and I wouldn't have considered it, a state-of-the-art microwave or anything, so, I've had good luck with a lot of what I would call cheaper versions of things, Some people have to have that name brand, so that's why there's different price lines, but that's what they talk about or mean when they talk about a price line, okay? So, if we go back, she's gonna buy a luggage for a line she sells for $90. She knows that her markup must be 40% of the selling price to cover expenses and get the net income she wants. What is the highest price she can afford to pay for each piece of luggage? So when she says, or when this says, what is the highest price she can afford to pay, that's what she's kind of thinking about from the supermarket or the superstore or whatever. That makes sense? Okay? So, two different versions. Again, I looked at this again this morning because this section kind of messes with my head a little bit. So, I personally think the easier version is method 2. So see where they give you what she's going to sell it for and then the markup percentage. To me, the easiest way to figure this out is to take 100% minus your markup that they gave you in the problem. So I would take 100 minus 40% and I get 60%, obviously, because I'm just subtracting it from 100. Then I'm going to take 60% of the amount that we're going to sell it for. So I'm going to take 0.6 times 90, and whatever my answer is would be what I can buy it from the superstore from. The first version of it, and maybe this makes more sense to you, is to just take the percent that they give you and multiply it by that selling price, and then take that answer and subtract it. So you can do it either way. It's kind of how it clicks in your melon. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Okay? You get to choose. All right? So, right, whatever floats your boat. So, letter A. A wholesaler wants to sell a drill to retailers for $45 and earn a markup of 20% on the selling price. What is the most the wholesaler can pay a drill manufacturer and get the desired markup? So again, two different ways to do it. Are you going to use that percentage right away and then subtract later? Or are you going to subtract the percentages and then do it? That's totally up to you. So again, to me, now that I look at it year in and year out, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do 100 minus the percentage that they gave me. Wasn't it 20%? And so I'm going to take 80% because that's just mine. And then I'm going to take 0.8 times whatever price they gave me in the problem. What was that? $45?
36 is the answer.
Right. So if I take 0.4 or 0.8 times 45, then I get $36. So again, this version of it makes a little bit more sense to me, but you could have also taken 20%, so 0.2 times your 45, and got an answer. Somebody punch this in real quick. It should be what, 9?
Yeah.
So you should get $9, and then you can take 45, which was the original selling price, minus your $9, and you still get your 36.
So what is the 36? Is that how much money he wants to make off of it?
No, so the 36 is how much this person would go to that drill company and say, that's as much as I'm going to give you for that set or that drill.
Okay.
So it's what, in my version, the smaller company would say to the bigger company.
So, and then he's gonna sell it for 45.
And then he's going to mark it up 20% to the 45. Okay, that makes sense to everybody? So this is what I'm buying it from the big store, and then I'm turning around, marking it up, and I'm selling it for this price.
Oh, so we're finding, yeah, okay.
Okay? So you're, and again, it's kind of weird that you got to think about, okay, who are they talking about here, right? So we're talking about,
Small.
to me, it's the middleman, right? Because the middleman's going to sell it to you guys or us, but we have to buy it from somebody. That makes sense? Okay, so look at B. Pretty much the same thing, but Marian's jeweler, she wants to set a price of $600 for a bracelet. The markup he wants is 60% of the selling price. What is the most he can pay for the bracelet? So when it says he can pay, that means going back to that original company. Okay? And then you do it either version that you like.
Pretty good
That's
product.
Right.
man.
Okay?
Smart, man.
So there again, if you notice some of those things, or you think about what's another huge thing that gets marked up.
Lululemon leggings.
Okay, those leggings now, but like shoes, right? You think about Jordans.
Hey!
You could make a pair of Jordans for probably $15, and what'd you have to pay? 110, right? So that's the difference, okay? So this is markup based on the selling price. Everybody good there? When they say the selling price, it's what we're going to sell it to. The middleman's going to sell it to the ordinary person. That's what they mean by selling price.
Is that it?
Okay? No. Everybody okay with that? Turn the page. Now we're going to try to do markup based on the cost. Okay? Whenever you hear based on the cost, you got to think about you're going to find a rate. And so if I'm going to find a rate, what am I going to do? I'm going to find a percent, and if I'm finding a percent, what am I going to do though? Mathematically, I'm going to divide. So I should have a number divided by a bigger number. All right? So anytime they say markup based on cost. Oh wait, we skipped one. There we
Process percent of selling. price.
Sorry. So let's go to C and D, my fault. So this is the selling price. This is basically doing the same thing, but you're just figuring out the selling price now. I skipped a section, my bad. Okay, so go up to the next, or back up to C. It says the cost of a half ounce of perfume is $18. The markup is 60% of the selling price. What is the selling price?
720.
Now this is where you got to be careful, okay? A lot of people just want to take the 60% times the 18 and then add it on. That's not how it works, okay? So when you're doing this one right here, so again, we're looking at the, to calculate the selling price, right? So when you're going to calculate the selling price, you're trying to find the selling price that you want to do. Now you know what the markup is. Now you're trying to figure out the selling price. So you're going to figure out or take your markup, which was 60%, and I'm going to subtract that from 100. Again, obviously everything's based off of 100%. So we get 40%. And then we're going to take what we wanted it, or what we bought it for. So with the cost of I'm looking at two different problems again. The perfume is $18. So you're going to take 18, and this is the weird part, right? We're going to divide by this percent. So take 18 divided by 40%. Now this isn't just 40, it's 40%. So again, when you punch this into your calculator, you're going to do what? You're going to move your decimal.
Divided by
0.4. So what'd you get?
45.
45. So again, notice this now. It's $45. Okay, so look at it. The cost of a half ounce of perfume is $18. We want to mark it up 60%, so what is the selling price? Again, when we say selling price, this is the amount we're going to put on the table.
Minus 18.
Nope, this is my answer.
Oh.
This is my answer for these problems. Okay? So 45 compared to 18, right?
Freaking ripping you off out here.
Right. Okay?
Start making my own crap.
So again, the cost is what we're getting it from the big person. So we're the middleman now, and we're gonna sell it now for $45, because we wanted to make 60%. But again, what's that 60% covering?
Probably your
Shipping,
your labor.
your labor, packaging maybe,
Yeah.
all of those things we have to pay for, right? So we have to increase our product, or the price, okay? Alright, so let's try letter D. Try letter D all by yourself. A bird bath costs $20.30. A retailer wants a markup of 42% of the selling price. What is the selling price? So try to do this process by yourself.
How do you spell batteries?
So what do we come up with?
35.
$35. Exactly right. So the difference again, over here we're finding the selling price. This is the selling price. What was this over here? This was the amount of cost. So again, when we say cost, it's what the middleman's buying it from the big guy. When we're talking about the selling, it's what the middleman's going to set the price to sell it.
So is that just the other way around then?
Well, what do you mean by the other way around?
Well, like,
It's just
the
kind of
first
the
one's
version
like
of what you're
cost,
thinking of it.
The amount of cost is what you're buying it for, and the selling price is what you're selling it for, so is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
selling
okay.
just the opposite of the first one?
In a sense, yes. And it's all the perspective of kind of what you're actually talking about.
Yeah, because instead of multiplying, you're just dividing.
In a sense, yes. Alright, so now we're ready, yeah, that's fine. Now we're ready to figure out the markup based on cost. So this is what I was trying to say earlier. So again, when you're talking about a markup, you're trying to figure out the percentage. Okay, so what you have to remember on this part right here, so to find your markup, kind of the keys to this, number one, you're going to subtract the amounts that you bought it for and the amounts that you're going to sell it for. So you're going to find the amount of difference. Okay? And then you're going to divide, number two, and this is where you got to be really careful. You're going to divide by the, so you got to be careful which number you're going to use here. You're going to divide by the cost. Always make sure that it's the cost. Okay? So, look at letter E. The cost of a comb is 80 cents. So again, when we say the cost, that's what we're getting it from the big one. A retailer wants to sell the comb for $1.28. What rate of markup based on the cost will the seller have to use? So we're going to take the two numbers that they give us, $1.28 minus 80 cents, and we get what?
48 cents.
48 cents. And then you're going to take 48 cents divided by which number? The 0.8. Exactly right. So what was my markup?
60%.
60%. So again, this one was 60% also, but obviously we only went from 80 cents to $1.28. But again, you're raising it 48 cents. That's a lot, right? You know?
How do you get a percent out of that if that's a cost? Like, how can you just change, like, how can you just get 60% if the 0.8 isn't even a percent?
They're just decimal numbers, and you gotta move those into a decimal.
This is both money and money though.
But how do you get a percent out of money and money? Oh, that's the percent of it. Okay.
Yeah, how do you get a percent on anything?
I'm
right?
dumb.
It's just like your grade on your quiz, right? You get
Yeah.
a percent off of points.
Yeah.
Okay.
You dingus.
Just like
So,
valuable percent.
In letter F,
Yeah.
we're gonna take 0.2 basically, right? 250 or 270 minus 250. So 0.2, and then we're gonna divide by which number? 250. So essentially, you're always going to divide by the smaller of the two numbers. Or as Yas said, the original one, okay? So that's markup stuff right there. That's all involving markup. So the amount of cost versus your selling price versus the actual percentage. Okay with all those? Mark down to me is really easy because mark down is just basically the same thing that you would do if you went to the store and were a part of a what? A sale. A sale and mark down is basically the same thing. So whatever they say that they're gonna mark it down, then you treat it like that's the discount price or the discount percentage. So why would they call it a mark down?
Because they're marking the price down.
Because why?
It's
Because-
depreciated.
The item isn't selling how they thought it was, and they
Okay.
get clear.
There's one good reason, right?
Item's been used.
Okay, maybe, but it's more probably Evan's train of thought,
The clearance section.
the clearance
I
section.
love that place.
So why is there a clearance section?
Because
Try to get rid of stuff that people haven't bought.
Because why?
Because people won't buy it.
Okay.
Or it's too expensive.
Expiration date
Okay.
or something.
So in a supermarket or something, it might be because it's going bad.
Or they have like one or two left of like a certain product that they can't get rid of and they need that shelf space.
Yep.
Throw it somewhere else. And
Perfect.
mark it
What
down.
else? Why else would you have clearance?
It's cheap.
If I'm running
It's not working, it's not selling, so you gotta get rid of it.
Okay.
You just have too much.
if I have too much, if I have, if I'm like Shields and I'm going from my winter section to my summer section, right? If I got a bunch of winter coats left over, I'm gonna have a winter coat sale. Or when I roll around, if I have a bunch of swim gear, swimsuits, bikinis and stuff, I'm gonna have a mass sale at the end of summer because nobody wants to buy that during the winter.
After hunting season, man, those are the best deals.
Exactly. So that's what you kinda gotta wait for, right? You gotta wait for some of those.
Oh, it goes like up here and then it's like,
Yeah, you can usually get really good deals.
and
I
then
usually
they're
get
spending a lot more money than they.
Right, right. So then you're like, oh, I'll take this one, this one, this one, and this one, and then it added up to the original. But you got 4 things at
Half
least.
the cool stuff
Yeah.
I get on clearance.
All right, so let's look at a markdown one real quick. Letter G. A man's suit with a marked price of $270 is being offered at a 20% discount. What is the selling price? So they actually just used the word discount here. So what is the selling price? Again, after you figure out the 20%, then I have to go back and do what? Subtract. So what's my grand total? That's not what I
216.
216.
216.
Because you can just do the 270 times 20%,
Oh,
and then you can just take that
You
number.
did 30? Okay. Alright, so markdown and discounts, exactly the same thing. So to me, the markdowns are relatively simple because they just make sense because we do it. Markups, we're not used to this, right? As consumers. We probably don't ever think about that. I mean, we think about, like somebody said, how much we're getting screwed, but we're not thinking about what that percentage is, you know what I mean? So we don't really have to go through these things until we run a business, or it's your business, and then you're going to be good at this stuff. So if your goal is to run your own business and you're going to sell paint, well, you have to know what I can buy it for, and then what I have to upgrade it or increase the price to make a profit, or at least break even. Okay. So again, like I said, this to us right now, it doesn't mean a whole lot because we don't have to do it. Okay? Questions with any or all of that stuff?
Kinda crazy.
Pretty self-explanatory.
All right, there you go.
Need you to